Hey, hi everyone. I'm Ronak and I have Nitish with me. Both of us are having a conversation around Adobe Summit that we both are going to be present in March in Vegas. We spoke about what are our expectations from Adobe, what is our expectations from the partner ecosystem. We thought the third one and the last in this series, we want to talk about content supply chain. So Nitish, first tell us, right, why content supply chain, what it is, and why do we think it's a important area for us to focus on?
Yeah, I think it's a great and a timely conversation, Ronak. I remember a time before November 2022 when you and I used to be tech and tech services analysts and not just talking about Gen AI, but that's our daily and full-time job now. So just like a lot of other conversations and hype in the ecosystem, Gen AI is to blame or maybe is to credit for this focus on content supply chain. So a couple of basics, right? We'll talk a little bit about what is content supply chain, why now, but also why is that getting turbocharged in this environment and what's the promise of Gen AI? So content supply chain is not an entirely new concept. It's been around for a while in different shapes and forms. I think it's getting turbocharged with Gen AI. But if you really think of content, the life or the journey of a content asset, right? Any asset an enterprise might use, it's typically housed within, an enterprise platform or a platform called DAM or digital asset management. But effectively, the content asset, whether it's the text on a website or an image that you see, etc., goes through a couple of layers, right? So you start
Yeah.
with how do I think about what the content should be, right? How do I target a customer like Ronak and what he or she or they would like to think about? Then once I know that, I want to produce that piece of content and refine it. Third, I
Yeah.
then want to activate it, right? So where do I push it? Where do I publish it? How do I make sure that Ronak sees it? And then I ultimately, as a marketer, I want to generate insights. I want to get some analytics. I want to understand feedback. I want to then optimize and put a reverse feedback loop in. So now all of this, not rocket science, was has been dependent, yes, a little bit more on technology in the last decade, but a lot of this is firmly dependent on how many people you have, right, and how much can they personalize content. This is what Gen AI, with the whole focus on content creation and customization, is able to accelerate. So you can personalize to a lot of different degrees, for the customer at different points in the day. And second, you can also maintain brand consistency. You can work off a common model so that you're not just dependent on vagaries of people doing it on their own. So this is really the promise of content supply chain, which is creating a seamless content journey and personalizing it for each customer and different customers during the time of the day. And the second, the fact that you can be consistent about it, you can be more efficient, and the bottleneck is not just the number of people that you have.
Yeah. And I think what excites me as you talk about content supply chain is in the past we've been using a series of these, I want to call these as SaaS solutions, which have kind of played in pockets or pieces of the value chain. And we've seen somewhat of a SaaS sprawl and somewhat of a disjointed content supply chain where people are putting more time and effort and doing more manual activities to make sure it scales, it operates really well. And then what you realize is the level of scale which you can enable with and the personalization that you can enable with technologies like generative AI, you are not able to achieve that with content supply chain stack or tech of yesterday. So this modern content supply chain is really what we are excited about and is where we see the investments going in. It's a massive change for organizations and how do they bring these technologies together, and the role that Adobe has to play, the ecosystem partner has to play, is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Absolutely. And likewise, and I'll make a small plug for our, burgeoning body of research on content supply chain. So we published a very, very interesting report at the end of last year, which we will put in the notes here, which is, a primer on the content supply chain market. You can just go through it to understand not just the supply ecosystem, but how our leading brands like T-Mobile, Under Armour, Asics, and others using this right now. So it's not just something that's a pipe dream in the future. It's here. Yes, it'll get better, but I think there are interesting use cases as we speak. So we look forward to seeing more in a month at the summit and hopefully come back with a follow-up conversation.